It's Monday, coming up on the D. Armstrong Show. Yes, you can grow those beautiful orchids in your home, and Julio Morales is here to show you how. We'll talk to Colleen Bordeaux from the Jules Collins Smith Museum of Art at Auburn University, the Oscars, and so much more on the D. Armstrong Show.
Live from the WLTZ NBC 38 studios, this is the D. Armstrong Show.
It's Monday. Don't you think sometimes we need a 3-day weekend? I do. It just goes by so fast. I hope your weekend was as wild and crazy as mine was. I had so many happy birthday wishes, so thank you. Thank you. That was really cool. I really appreciate it. Even had it sung to me at church. Never had that happen before. You know, it's the little things in life that, you know, brings a tear to your eye and makes you realize that the little things in life mean so much. And that means that we really should be making sure that we do the same for others. That's what I thought about. I should be doing more of that for other people. So watch out. Somebody might sneak up on you and perform an act of kindness just randomly. Don't you think giving sometimes, Janae, is as much fun as getting? All the planning and all the doing for somebody else.
It is. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to contribute and give.
Yes, yes, I'm telling you. Whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's just sneaking up on somebody and giving them a big hug. You know, a lot of people around town showed up to give. They gave of time, they gave of money, and just plain old friendliness. It was the Valley Interfaith Promise Bed Race. And yes, that was one of them. The promise is to help homeless families. That's the promise. One of the ways the organization raises money is with a bed race. That was me. I was one of the judges. And they go right down the middle of Broadway. Dun, 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 march, get set, go! Isn't that something? Lots of fun. And it was really difficult to judge them because the local companies like West Georgia Eye Care, the churches, and the groups, they make those beds, and they use mostly bicycle wheels. They race them down the road for the crowds to raise money. We had a really large crowd this year. It keeps on getting bigger. And thank you so much, Columbus, for giving. It's a lot of fun, a lot of fun. You know, times are hard financially, but most people tend to squeeze in a little fun on the weekend, like going to the movies. Walt Disney's animated 3D twist on Romeo and Juliet topped the box office this weekend. According to studio estimates, Romeo and Juliet pulled in $14.2 million in its third week of release, so it is still hot. Leading the box office on Oscar weekend and taking the second spot was the Owen Wilson R-rated comedy Hall Pass, which earned $13.4 million for Warner Brothers. And dropping from the last top weekend to third place this weekend was the Liam Neeson thriller Unknown. Only $12.4 million in its second week of release. Wouldn't you like to say that? I only made $12.4 million last week, but Liam Neeson can say it. You know, one thing most of us like to talk about is our warm childhood memories, and after our old school show Friday, it was so much fun. We did the Jackson 5 and all that cool daddy-o stuff. So we came up with our Facebook question, which had something to do with old school, looking back, family, and all that stuff. What did they say, Janae? Well,
we asked our Facebook fans about their childhood memories, and unfortunately, we have a lot of the local residents in Columbus that grew up here. So we actually had Sharon say she used to work at the candy counter when she was a teenager at Sears. And Madeline says appearing on Cowboy Bob's TV show. I don't know what that is, but that's her fondest childhood memory.
I've been around a long time. I remember both of them. Sears had a candy counter, and we had all kinds of stuff going on television, a lot of local stuff. This is new now, the D. Armstrong Show, but it used to be a lot of local stuff on, and that was a lot of fun. Right now, let's see what's happening on the news today. A search is underway in Lowndes County, Georgia, for the bodies of 2 Ohio murder victims. A man arrested in West Virginia on Wednesday, his name is Samuel Littleton, has told investigators that he abducted 85-year-old Gladys Russell and 84-year-old Richard Russell from their home in Logan County, Ohio, and drove them all the way down to Georgia, killed them, he says, and dumped their bodies somewhere on I-75. Investigators believe the couple's bodies are possibly in Lowndes County, and that's why they're there. You know, the longer you stay in school, the lower your risk of getting high blood pressure. Researchers at Brown University studied some data. They followed about 4,000 adults for 30 years. And they found, they say, that men and women with the lowest levels of education had the highest blood pressure readings, even after they adjusted for things like for their smoking, drinking, and weight gain. The experts say adults with the lowest levels of education are more likely to live in poverty and work in high-stress jobs where they don't want to be, and then that impacts their blood pressure. So another reason to do well while you're in school, or maybe even to go back to school, because that's available too. And this is our cool story of Monday. The King's Speech, what a movie, went away with the Best Picture crown at the Academy Awards Sunday evening. There were very few surprises because we had heard what was going to happen, and it did, but that did little to diminish the excitement of the winners. Stephanie Stanton tells us what some of them had to say when they were backstage.
I have a feeling my career's just peaked.
Colin Firth may have summed up the evening for many people associated with The King's Speech. His Oscar as Best Actor, one of 4 the film won Sunday night, including Best Picture.
The emotional response to it seems to be very, very personal.
Firth was one of several first-time Oscar winners, including expectant mom Natalie Portman for Best Actress for Black Swan.
It feels very, very dreamlike right now. I don't really know where I am.
Would it be too crazy to think that you might name your baby Oscar?
I think that's probably definitely out of the question.
Best Supporting Actress winner Melissa Leo from The Fighter spent time backstage offering a mea culpa for the accidental expletive during her acceptance speech.
I had no idea. Those words, I apologize to anyone that they offend.
Leo's co-star Christian Bale has used salty language in public himself a time or two, but he was straightforward about his win as Best Supporting Actor.
It's all just a matter of opinion. It's so abstract that this is a very bizarre thing, but at the same time, I just can't help but be touched so dearly by it.
The King's Speech.
And on this night, the film about a stammering monarch that's touched millions of moviegoers came away the biggest winner.
I think what the film is saying is sometimes the way to conquer your fears is not by turning into yourself, it's about turning out to others.
The King's Speech is now Hollywood royalty. Stephanie Stanton, NBC News, Hollywood.
The sci-fi epic Inception, I just saw that. What a movie. It tied with The King's Speech for 4 wins, but they were all technical categories. They were visual effects, cinematography, sound editing, and sound mixing. Big wins there. And The Social Network won 3, including Best Adapted Screenplay for Aaron Sorkin. Well, you know, they tried something new with the presenters. They didn't use the seasoned actors this time. So what do you think about that? That's our Facebook question, isn't it?
Right, and a lot of our Facebook friends are speaking about this. Some of them feel like they were maybe too young. Some of them feel like they were a new twist to it. So we're asking them to actually share their opinion about the Oscars hosts Anne Hathaway and James Franco. Let us know what you think. Were they too young, not prestigious enough for such an award show, or were they a new twist, a young and modern twist to the Oscars?
And we'll use our connections because we're in there, aren't we? And we'll let Hollywood know what Columbus had to say. Oh, yes. Definitely. Very important you respond. Coming up, we'll talk with Colleen Bordeaux from the Jules Collins Smith Museum of Fine Art in Auburn University. We are going to recap last night's styles from the Oscars with Taryn Adler. She's from Star Magazine. And we have some wonderful tips. You can grow orchids with Julio Morales. All this and so much more on the Dee Armstrong Show, so don't go away.